Welcome to the Law Shit You Should Know podcast. We're here to talk a little bit about the law
and a whole lot about nothing. Every week, we have a new guest to discuss current events, legal drama, and dive even deeper into
the Law Shit You Should Know. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Law Shit You Should Know with Elina Santana
and Leslie Marenco.
And today we have the beautiful and amazing Vanessa Vasquez.
Hi.
Hi, Vanessa. So tell everyone who you are, what you do.
Absolutely. I'm Vanessa Vasquez de Lara from the Vasquez de Lara Law Group, and I practice what is known as family law.
Ooh.
That's not family like you like your family. It's like you don't like your family.
Well, sometimes people like it's like prenups
they do.
too.
I'm just kidding.
When they're still all like hopeful and shit.
I'm sorry. Things are going to work out. Fun time? You think negotiating a prenup's going to be fun?
I mean,
like,
it means
they love each other then.
I mean, you're kind of in love,
oh,
right?
Oh, how cute! Adorable.
I like to say that we help with the baby mama drama and the baby daddy drama.
I like that.
Yes.
Lots of baby mama drama in your life.
You know, according
not personally.
A criminal defense attorney that we have had on this podcast, he says the baby mama is always going to rat you out, bro. You always get ratted out by the baby mama. Like
the ones who don't think long term. The ones who don't think long term. I mean, if I get you fired, then you can't pay child support.
You see?
Come on now.
Logic.
And here I was like, but you have privilege with your spouse. And what he's like, oh, no. They always give you up. Like, they always give you up. I'm like, oh, shit. So there you go. I learned something new that day. You can never deny whether that's true.
I'm not sure that I've ever been told that my baby mama dropped the dime on me. But I would not be surprised necessarily. I would not be surprised.
Okay. All right. Well, so, you know, we always talk about what's going on in current events and kind of the legal side of current events. And I feel like you are the perfect person because there is so much pop culture stuff happening in family law. 100%. I mean, we could talk divorce, we could talk prenups, we could talk all kinds of shit shows. So where do you want to start? What's your favorite celebrity news right now?
I mean, I feel like the one that's the biggest one that is in my orbit happens to be the one with Jonas and Sophie Turner.
Ooh, yes.
Just because they filed in Florida. I don't know if you're aware.
Sansa Stark.
At some point,
she had to tell me who that was.
I was like, it's Sansa Stark from Game of Thrones, guys. That's who Joe Jonas is married to, okay? Real name, Sophie Turner, right? That's what she's talking about. So anyways, go on. just for the lost people like Leslie.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So their jurisdiction is Florida. Why? They were living here?
So they own a property here, and she's originally from England, and apparently they were sort of doing like a bi-coastal thing. And then they were here in the U.S., or at least the kids, and he was here, and they own property here, and they filed here. And the reason why that's a big deal,
don't they have like a mansion somewhere? Or I think they sold it recently.
They own something because we have jurisdiction.
Yeah.
But the reason why that's a really big deal is because she's trying to take her kids back to England.
Yeah.
And Florida has the relocation statute, which means that if a case is filed in Florida, the children cannot leave the state without a court order.
Interesting.
So she has actually filed to be able to take them back. And she's like, he's kidnapped my kids. He won't give them back. And they're like, Florida law says you can't take them.
So is this like a run to the courthouse kind of thing? Make sure you file in the jurisdiction you want? Like what gives Florida the right to, have they lived here a certain amount of time? Did she pop out these kids here? Like where were these kids born? Like,
I'm pretty sure they were not born in Florida, and you're supposed to be a resident of Florida for 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm assuming because he has a very good Florida lawyer.
Does he now?
That they've somehow established some sort of residency here.
This sounds like
they don't live anywhere.
Manipulated.
I googled this.
Manipulated. That's so negative.
Allegedly, yeah. I don't know whose lawyer is. I'm gonna hate
Forum shopping is a thing.
Yeah, absolutely is a thing.
Anyways,
absolutely.
So I googled this, and I actually read that at some point they filed to be British citizens with the kids and the family, and that caused the whole big mess now too, right? Isn't that part of what she's fighting about?
I think the whole point is that they weren't supposed to be here long term. They're supposed to be here like on vacation.
Oh, wow.
And then he filed, and
because
then he's like, my kids are not going back.
Long vacations, just for the record.
Wait. So if I get married in Vegas, right, with I don't know who, but whatever, like anyone, I
Sure,
somehow lose
sure.
my shit, fall in love with some clown. They con me into getting married
More likely to get
in
drunk
Vegas,
at a
more
chapel.
likely, God knows. And then, but I'm a Florida, I mean, I guess why I'm getting caught up in this is like in the tax world, domiciliary versus residency versus these are all, terms of science. Not really, they're terms of art. Probably
It's
slightly
exactly the same for
right.
divorce. So you are
So,
supposed to be a resident of the state that you file in, or your marriage has to last be intact there. So my guess is that besides England, they don't own property that they've lived in for any amount of time, other than maybe the Florida residence. And that's probably why he's bootstrapping and saying, hey, this is the last place our marriage was actually intact and working.
Mm,
So this is the state that has jurisdiction.
oh,
interesting.
wow. This is very strategic.
Yeah, for sure.
God, yeah. I'm like, oh shit. Because what if they were only coming here for a short period of time and they always had decided they were moving back and what have you? And now he's like, no, fuck you. Like,
And then it's
blank.
going to turn into a whole. So, I mean, the problem is, especially when you have different countries, you actually find yourself, whether they're, signatories to the Hague
Right.
Convention or not.
Yeah, yeah. What
So
a hot
she would
mess.
have to file with her Department of State in the UK to start the Hague process. That then becomes a case here. So I haven't done a super deep dive, just like a superficial dive. And I think that she had just filed a motion in the divorce, but I had heard that she was starting the Hague process. For normal people, the Hague
Wow.
process is a really big deal because it's expensive.
Of
It moves
course.
very quickly. When you have it, at least here, the last case that I was involved in, or was somehow like in my orbit, it was in federal court. So
Yeah.
the client contacted me and I'm like, I'm not going to federal court. No, thank you. Thanks, but no thanks. I am a state court attorney. And there are attorneys that specialize in that.
Sure.
But it's gonna become a thing about whether, and then I mean, within the Hague, it's completely different than what Florida law is. There is no federal family law.
Right.
So then you're talking about determining what's in the interest of the children and
Which is
there's all
already
this
a
stuff.
show of a standard, right?
And the problem is that my understanding is that the reason why he had the kids to begin with was because she's doing some kind of show, some
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
movie, some kind of
Yeah, I read
something.
that. He
It was
was
like all encompassing.
Yeah, the
So
kids
she
were more with
couldn't
him,
watch the
believe it or
kids.
not, than
Yes,
with her. The kids have actually
exactly.
been with him longer, more recently, anyways. She's out fighting dragons and shit. Oh no, wait, that
Exactly.
show's over. I don't know what she's doing now. Whatever it is, she's out
Sequel,
there.
the
Yeah, I was
next
gonna say the
one.
HBO
I don't
sequel
know,
coming soon,
throwing people
guys.
off
Exactly.
cliffs. I don't know what she's doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that complicates it because he will be able to argue that it's in the children's best interest to actually stay with him versus to
Yeah.
go home with her.
Yeah, yeah, in their Miami mansion. Although I also read that they had agreed temporarily to stay in New York or something like that. I don't know. I was Googling this before Vanessa got here today,
Yeah.
and it seems to be a multi-jurisdictional hot mess. So
Yeah. I
Are there
mean,
any
it's
ties to New York?
fun times.
Or this is
I
I
have no
think
just
they've
fucking
like
just been
idea.
staying. I think that's where they were staying when the case got filed. Like, I think that that's where they happened to be.
that's where they were staying when he filed this case in Miami.
These
Oh,
people
that's
It
are
was in
fucking
Miami.
fantastic.
It
millionaires,
was in
Leslie. They
Miami. I
have
think they
houses
filed in
everywhere,
Tampa.
you
What a
know?
fucking
I know
circus.
the attorney, I think, is from Tampa. He's from Central Florida. So
This
I
No,
think they
but
sounds
I
just
like
think
some
the
filed up
case got
there.
sketchy
filed in
ass shit.
Miami, didn't it? Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I
That
don't
I'm
know.
not
All I know
sure.
is Florida. I'm
I
with you
haven't
there.
heard that scuttlebutt
No,
just
I could
quite
be
yet.
wrong. I could be wrong. It might not have been Miami. I
If
Wow.
know they
not,
had a
I'm
mansion in
gonna run
Miami.
to the docket and look it
I
up.
don't know. I know that they had a mansion in Miami, but I don't actually know if it was
Yeah, I'm
Tampa
not sure either.
or whatever the fuck. But there's so many interesting things happening in Miami. There's lots of other fun shit happening in Miami.
Always,
There's,
always.
I mean, when isn't there fun shit happening? What?
Is this like exhibit A to like don't raise kids in
No,
Miami?
I would never raise
Sansa
children here.
Sansa Stark is
The
correct.
dragons are
This
coming.
is like this place
No.
is
I don't
this,
know. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know. Okay, love. Let's talk about love. Let's talk about Taylor Swift. Hot topic. Love. She
That
has
is
a very fresh love going on with Mr. Kansas
super,
City Chiefs
super,
going on right now.
super.
So I didn't know
I
she
heard that
had
his
any. Isn't she in the middle
jerseys,
of?
sales went up
Yes.
like 800%.
100%.
800%.
And I heard that the last game they played where she was there, or whatever the fuck, was like the most watched football game ever. And I'm
NFL's
like,
loving Taylor Swift.
NFL's loving her. But meanwhile, I'm like, who are these fucking people watching a football game so they can see Taylor Swift in the crowd? Like, really? Do you have nothing better to do in your goddamn life? Anyways, I'm sorry. That's
I mean, and they want to
bizarre to
know
me.
what's
It's bizarre.
happening, what's going on, what's,
I'm very confused by this because isn't she in the middle of like a tour? Like, so what? She got a new
She's
boyfriend in
always
the
in a
middle of
fucking
tour? Is that what
tour.
happened?
Yeah.
And this guy's in a
well,
He's
I
a
football
think,
player?
Kansas
I
City
think
Chiefs
like we like to say in
player,
Miami,
yeah.
they're talking.
Oh, talking. I
They're
don't know what
talking.
that is. That
Talking.
wait, are they together or
Talking.
not? Like, what does that
I
mean?
mean, I don't know that they're official.
Oye, I'm a
I don't
venue.
know. I don't know.
On the
I think it's an
record,
amiguita.
I'm not a
I
millennial.
think
I don't
it's
know
an
what that means.
amiguita.
Amiguita. It's an amiguita.
Talking is
Amiguita.
like,
What are you talking about?
they're
What are
on
you talking about? What are you talking about? You were never dating
Amiguita.
somebody. You were either talking or that was your boyfriend.
Okay,
That's
guys,
true.
I'm
Like,
too old for this
Yeah,
shit.
no, that's-
right?
Either you
hello.
are or are not like together dating.
No,
like, what
no,
does
no,
that
no, no,
mean?
no,
Like,
no.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
they
You're
snuck
talking-
away from places.
Your talking means you're thinking about it.
She
It's
she
not
went to
official.
this guy's
It's not
That's
official.
not,
game.
that's not her boyfriend.
It's not her boyfriend. It's not a boyfriend until it's like exclusive, you know?
Exactly.
And they
How
ain't
are
there
you not
yet.
going to be exclusive with a celebrity? Like everybody's gonna follow your ass around. What are you whoring with? Like what? Britney on
Celebrities
the
can
side?
fuck anyone
Like,
they want. You think they're exclusive with everyone they fuck? Are you crazy?
I assume.
It's like,
If you're a celebrity, you can't go whoring around. Everybody's gonna know.
look at who's the idealist
You're gonna
now.
be the one that's never been married, never right. That's the idealist, of course. I don't know any better. Clearly, is the problem. Like,
No. They're talking. They're still talking, right?
I mean, I haven't heard that it's official that that's her boyfriend.
Okay.
So, but I don't know that we ever find out.
But I mean, he makes really. I mean, he's not Taylor Swift, but he makes decent money, right? As an
No, yeah,
NFL football player.
and he has a
You know what?
podcast
he's not a
himself.
fucking loser on the side. Like, he's employed.
I mean,
he is. This isn't a Miami bro. Okay,
Miami
for
bro.
the record.
Okay, true, but he ain't no Taylor Swift.
No,
okay?
no, no,
That's
all of
just
you.
finished.
I don't even know who this guy is.
I mean,
What's
don't
his
get me
name?
wrong. I'm actually not a huge fan of Taylor
If
Swift's
you're
music,
a football
but
guy, you know who this guy is.
Yeah.
He has a podcast. His brother's also
He has a
professional.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah, come on.
podcast.
Everybody's got a podcast.
he's got
Look where we are.
a semi-successful podcast.
He has a real podcast?
His brother's also a professional football player.
Yeah,
So they have
Okay.
a podcast together. and
Talking
it's
about
like,
football?
talking about like maybe one post shit you should.
Well, I don't know.
sure, you should know. I love
And
it.
they've actually started a segment for the Swifties to teach them
No.
football stuff.
No.
Yes.
Oh
No,
my
I
God.
love
What
that
a good
shit.
way to monetize a fucking
I
relationship.
love that shit. I love that
You
shit.
know, maybe
No,
that's why I
listen,
need a boyfriend.
So that's what I was gonna say before we switched over to this man's podcast. Is I'm actually not a fan of Taylor Swift, but she is arguably the most prolific like artist of our time.
Absolutely.
You know, and
She's actually she was mentioned in one of the last Fed reports that
Oh, wow.
her tour, like her stop in some city, I don't remember which one, had like increased the income into that city by like
it's crazy.
$100
So
million.
she's an economic
something like
factor where she
insanity.
goes.
Well,
They
yeah, so that's what I was
actually
gonna
put
say.
her in a Fed report.
I mean, you have to
The
respect
Swift-
her.
That's wild.
You
The
have to
Swift effect.
respect like her
That's
business
wild.
acumen and the way she's
Oh,
running this
100%.
because she is
So what's the name
wildly
of this
fucking
guy?
successful.
Who's she dating?
Travis Kelsey.
No, be a damn.
Isn't there's an argument about whether it's Kels or Kelsey, isn't there?
I
Like
don't
a
know.
whole big
That's how
thing
you
about
spell
how you
it?
Some
pronounce
white
his
boy,
last
bro.
name.
She's dating
I'm
some white
Latina.
boy.
I
Yeah,
pronounce
like,
anything the way you
he
read
is
it.
some
That's some Dominican.
But I
like,
mean, she is some white girl for the record.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It matches. It matches. Some white guy. It's
I mean, this ain't no Shakira,
It's
right? Like,
good.
let's be
No,
real.
no.
It is, it is some white guy. Definitely not dating
Bad Bunny that I'm
Shakira.
like, what the fuck? Who told me Bad Bunny's
Oh,
dating
I saw this. I
some
saw
white
this
girl?
again.
Who's he dating?
Oh,
Is it?
fucking
Is it?
No.
Isn't he dating? Some
I just saw.
Look
white
at you
girl?
dropping pop culture
Oh,
knowledge.
yes, somebody was telling me. And I was like, what is Bad Bunny doing with this white girl? Like, does he speak English?
And then
And I'm like, oh, yeah, he's Puerto
somebody said
Rican. Of
exactly
course he
that.
fucking
Somebody
speaks
said
English.
exactly that. Doesn't speak
Does he
English.
speak
In the
English?
picture,
I'm like,
that
oh,
I
yeah,
saw,
he's
oh,
Puerto
who was it?
Rican.
I can't remember
Portoro.
who it was.
Way to
but-
stereotype, Leslie.
Yeah,
Way
yeah,
to
100%. Hate mail to lawshityoushoulddnow@gmail.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. So wait, so they are not. So we don't know if they're together. We don't know
I mean,
if
there's something.
there's something.
There's something.
There's something.
She showed up to a football game, increased
Several
NFL,
football games.
several in the middle of her tour. Guys, that's love.
And then she
That's
showed up. She
enough.
showed up with
Like,
all of her A-lister friends.
coño,
So she
this
went
became a
with Hugh
party.
Jackman.
Oh yeah. She
She
brought
went
people. I
with
saw that.
She's
Yeah.
bringing like
with
celebrities to the football
who?
Yeah.
game.
The
Blake
football's loving it.
Lively
Yes,
and
yes,
and
yes.
Blake's husband. Yeah, like she showed up with an
With a
entourage.
posse. A famous posse.
Posse.
Famous posse. But yeah, she's making the NFL bank. Like the viewing is out of control. This man's jersey out of
Like
control.
Taylor
Yeah.
is American football's Messi to like the
Except she's not actually playing football. Maybe they'll get her in a cheerleading outfit on the sideline at some point. There's actually talk of her doing a halftime show at some point.
Of course.
And there was like a whole big argument because I think this year is Usher, if I'm not mistaken. And so there was a whole like, is Usher gonna get bumped for Taylor Swift thing? I think this is all just people fucking making shit up in their heads. But this is
Can they
but
afford
it's all
Taylor
over.
Swift? Well, now that she's dating this guy.
I love
Got
Leslie.
it. Got
There'll
it.
She
be a
can do
love
it.
discount.
She'll do
Love
it for
discount.
free. She'll do it for free. Quote
Aw.
unquote
I don't know
free.
about that.
She'll get a
I don't know
percentage
about
of the
that.
royalties. That's what she needs to negotiate.
Right?
Yeah. But so let's say these two individuals actually went somewhere. I mean, how do you account for just the sheer amount of money that these, I mean, and again, don't get me wrong, no ningún come mierda. Like he's an NFL player.
He's no
That
Taylor
man makes
Swift,
some
bro.
money,
I didn't even
okay?
know who he
Like,
was.
I mean, he's not
I
Taylor
still
Swift,
don't.
okay? But not
Still
everyone
don't.
is fucking Taylor Swift.
No,
all right,
exactly.
you
There's
know,
one.
as far as we're concerned, the man is well
got
off of his
something.
own.
Yeah.
I
Like,
mean, right. He's not broke. Like he's
if he
not
married some random
living with
chick,
his
he'd be
mama.
prenupping that for sure. Okay,
Right.
now,
Exactly.
so
No.
I mean,
She
honestly,
better prenup this. What are you crazy? Tayller, no seas come mierda, mi amor. No,
if
no,
you're
no.
listening,
If you're listening,
Leslie
no. He's
says
got plenty of lawyers telling
we
her
want
that.
prenup.
We want listen to Kanye or whatever he calls himself.
all the celebrities get prenups.
Of
I mean,
course.
nowadays
They do.
it's more surprising when you hear somebody didn't get a prenup, which surprisingly enough, it does actually still happen. There's
It's romantic,
one
though,
of
right?
those, like, will sneak in there every once in a while. But yeah, no, absolutely. We would expect something that is like prenup upon prenup upon prenup upon prenup. Yeah, like,
So
and it
tell
would
us,
take they'll negotiate that longer than the plan the wedding.
I've heard some really interesting clauses in prenups. Like, what are some
Right.
of the interesting stuff? Like, I've heard like the no cheating clauses in there. Have
Which
you heard
are
of that?
really difficult because then you have to talk about, well, what's cheating? Is it sleeping with somebody? Is it
Oh,
registering to their OnlyFans account? Is
oh,
it
like do
kissing?
blowjobs count? Do blowjobs count?
There's literally there was a whole debate in one of my
This whole
Facebook groups.
society.
There was a whole debate in one of my Facebook groups
OnlyFans account.
talking about, like, yeah, you can put them in, but then you also have to define what's that going to mean.
So for anyone listening, let's explain first. What do I mean by a cheating clause?
Right. So, well, let's go even further. What's a prenup?
True.
A
Let's start
prenup
there.
is literally just a contract that allows you to be able to keep your stuff yours and their stuff theirs. And when you have a lot of your stuff, you want to keep it separate. And
Oh yeah, back to Sophie and whatever. Can you choose jurisdiction in a prenup?
absolutely.
Can you say, I don't give a fuck where we're living, whatever, we are getting divorced in Miami-Dade County, because cheating there is understood. So
you can't-
judges will take my side. Like, can
you
you be
can't-
strategic?
Hookers in blue, all
I mean,
acceptable
it is
here.
what it is. I mean,
I'm gonna be honest and say I haven't had that.
no.
But you can choose your what jurisdictions laws will apply to your prenup.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
So not
Okay.
where you can actually get divorced. I don't know that, Florida will be like,
Right.
well, yeah, we'll allow you to use our courts if you've never been.
Well, probably the judge be like, I don't give a fuck what it says in your prenup. You're not being in my courtroom. Get out. Like,
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you
but-
can choose, which state's laws you're gonna follow, which happens a lot. I've had clients where maybe they're bi-coastal or
Sure.
one lives in one place. They're planning on moving to Florida, or for whatever reason, they want to be able to move to Florida and they choose Florida as the law of the jurisdiction of their prenup. That does absolutely happen. So that's a prenup. It's a contract that allows you to keep stuff separate, and it allows you to do things that the law doesn't allow you. So, for example, with respect to estate planning, most of my prenups will say that you are waiving the elective share. So you are waiving the elective share, which is the ability to inherit from your spouse. You actually waive it in your prenup. And that way you can choose to leave it to them, or you could choose to leave it to the cats, the
Ooh, the
University of Miami.
Let's not talk about the cat.
whatever.
Let's not talk about the cats, please. The fucking cat.
Whomever you want to leave it to, which happens a lot here with second marriages, where you'll have kids, so you're like, well, I want everything to
Right.
go to my kids. I don't want it to go la parecida que llegó hace 2 meses.
Yeah. The hot second wife. Yeah.
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 The pool boy
So
in the
that's the
fountain.
prenup.
The
Then
pool
The
boy.
pool boy. That's
The
my
pool
example
boy.
to my clients. Like,
Gotcha.
oh yeah, when you
Ain't
remarry the
nothing
pool
wrong with the
boy
second.
at the
Yeah.
fountain blue.
Yeah.
That's the
Nothing
problem.
wrong with getting
Ooh.
yourself some hot
Ooh.
second.
I know the story you're talking about. Okay. So then the cheating clause is simply a clause where you're talking about what happens if somebody cheats. And typically it's going to be, I mean, the reality is that nowadays we still see where the men are the ones that are in a better financial position. Although we've had a few where it's the women, but it's still generally that. And that is
Are they the
generally
one cheating?
generally the concern.
Are they also the one cheating?
Statistics are that it's
Statistics.
actually pretty
Yeah,
low.
I've read these
Oh,
statistics
but
where I'm like,
but there's bigger
oh.
concern that,
Like 50-50 in the cheating.
yeah, the statistics, whether
Interesting.
people are honest in their statistics or not, I don't know.
Well,
But
you know
that's
what
the
they say,
statistic.
50% of statistics are just made up.
There
Anyway,
you
I'm
go.
sorry. Bad joke. Bad joke.
So with the cheating, the reality is that any chickie can roll up to your, well-heeled spouse and be like, "Papito,
"Cute
Hi.
spouse.
Hola,
Aw,
papi.
papi, está muy bueno."
so
And the
that's
more
why.
money he has, the more
No,
bueno he
claro.
is.
Bueno, que
Or when they're old,
Yeah.
then it becomes a concern that the young wife is going to find the pool boy at the fountain
Of
blue.
course. The
Oh,
pool boy
yeah,
at the
yeah.
Fablo está buenísimo.
Buenísimo.
I've heard.
So
I've
yeah.
heard.
So the debate in this Facebook group that I was in was actually about, well, there's some attorneys who actually recommend against it, because then you have to go and define
What is
everything
cheating?
that it means, and then it becomes hyper technical where, like you said, does a blowjob count? It doesn't count. Kissing, no kissing, only fans, but no physical. Calling, no calling, like porn.
Óyeme, how is porn cheating?
I mean,
I
there's
am
people who
sure I can
feel
find people
You
who
gotta be
feel.
kidding me, guys.
Well, there's also conversation about emotional cheating, right?
Yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, if I worried about cheating, I think I'd worry more about like emotional cheating than physical cheating. I mean, not that I'm okay with my husband going out and getting a blowjob.
Pledge
For the
agreements, pay
record, you're
attention.
not allowed to get a
Pay
blowjob from anyone but me,
attention.
okay? But for real, there are times when you think, the act of sex can be easily separated from the act of love.
Right.
And, not that I'm okay with cheating, but I think it's worse to go fall in love with someone than it is to go have sex with someone. I think there's an argument to be made that emotional cheating is a bigger deal, that we're not coming back from that. You ain't coming back from emotional cheating, my friend.
Interesting.
You
Okay,
you
but
think I'm
porn is
wrong?
not cheating. I go back to porn is not cheating. I don't care what anybody says. That is not okay.
Well, what about OnlyFans? If you can direct the porn and they're doing what you ask of them, is it cheating?
That is still not cheating.
No,
As
when
far
does
as
it
I'm
become cheating?
concerned.
Physical
No,
touch?
So for anybody that
Is it
Leslie
any
dates
kind
in the
anybody
future,
that I date,
She's cool.
they
porn
will
is not
know
cheating.
that,
If,
here's the
like,
checklist.
like,
So where's the
we'll
line?
put together a checklist.
Is the line physical touch?
No
then?
soy hecha de cristal. Okay. It's gonna be a recurring theme.
But no, I hear you. I hear what
Yeah.
you're saying. Like impossible
This
to
becomes
define.
really difficult to
Of course,
quantify.
because what
To
is
prove.
cheating? And
Right.
you know,
And then the
Now you
reason
got to
to
subpoena
have them
OnlyFans. How responsive is OnlyFans to
how
subpoenas?
fun is
I
that?
mean,
have
Wanna
not had to do
subpoena
that just quite
OnlyFans?
yet.
That sounds great.
So yeah, I haven't needed that.
But this is where
Um,
you start getting like private investigators and shit, right?
not
absolutely.
You
OnlyFans.
see that
I
shit
mean,
in the movies.
OnlyFans. That's credit card, my friend. There's
No, but I'm
Claro.
talking about the cheating
a
clauses,
trail.
right? Like people start
yeah.
chasing after their
Exactly.
spouse with like a fucking PI to
And
figure
then
out
it
if they're really
becomes
cheating
technical.
or
You need
not.
to catch them in the very specific, not just walking into a hotel, but actually engaging in the sex.
Engaging in the sex.
No,
Yeah, that's
hold on. Although I do not believe the
actual-
porn is
actual
cheating.
touching.
If
Leslie.
there's walking into a hotel, my friends, like what are we doing?
But
Reading the
that's not
Bible
cheating.
together?
But that's not
There's a
cheating.
free one in every
Oh,
drawer.
how cute. Yeah, because what is it? Like, tengo come mierda escrita aquí. Like, what were you doing in the
Perhaps-
fucking hotel?
So then perhaps your
We could
prenup
be
should not
My
have a
freedom is
cheating
like the
clause.
second you walk into a hotel room with
There
some
you go.
other bitch, it is considered cheating. Porn,
There you go.
however, you can do what you
So
want.
what about with the opposite sex? What if they walk in there with another man?
That's what I'm.
Is that also cheating?
Yes.
Maybe they're
I
just
need
having
to-
dinner.
Just 'cause
No, I need to know.
Cheating.
No, like, that doesn't mean it's not cheating. It's the same shit.
I need to know where Leslie's lines are. This is
I have
fascinating.
lines. I can come up
Fascinating.
with them quick too. I feel like I know my lines.
You're not
too
about
there.
this polyamory
No,
life.
no, the polyamory life. No, absolutely not. Like,
All right, we've gotten off
this
track.
has gone off the rails,
Just a little.
guys. It's
Just a
off the
little.
rails.
So question: do you film your prenup signings? Because I've also
I do
heard
not.
attorneys who do that.
So
I
I
feel
am not
like
a
in my
fan.
world, this can fucking backfire.
Exactly. So the problem is that if your video, somebody looks miserable, unhappy,
Coerced.
and then coerced, there's an argument to be made about that.
Not
Yeah.
letting me watch porn.
We do. So
She's not letting this go. Like, this will forever be a topic.
we'll make sure that when I drop your
This
prenup,
is-
Leslie, I will
This
make
is
sure
the
that it
fascist
says
shit you guys want to do.
It's going to be spelled out in your prenup that you are allowed to watch
I am
porn,
allowed
Leslie.
to
Don't you worry.
all the porn I want.
Any kind too, right? All kinds.
for real. For real.
Don't limit my expression.
All right.
My First Amendment right. Now I sound like a crazy Republican. Anyway.
All right. So
Yeah.
you were
So
saying why you don't film.
When we have the money spouse, which means that we're setting the terms of how we want it to be
Sure.
done, we do it with a court reporter. We do take a transcript, and the transcript is attached to the prenup. There's no feelings that are read into the prenup. It doesn't. The court reporter doesn't write the tears are streaming down her face.
Terrible. That's
It just
terrible.
says, that, are you under the influence? Have you been coerced? Are you under any duress? And all of those are nope, nope, nope.
This is
So yeah,
Bitch looks high.
we asked,
very
are you
unhappy.
high? Have you taken any medication?
Yeah.
Have you had anything to drink
Well,
today?
our officers in immigration ask that all the time. They want to
Yeah.
make sure that you are not under the influence of anything, and so they can use it against you later when you say no.
Yeah,
You can't be like, "Well, I was high that day," or "I was under the influence of drugs,"
exactly.
or "We did a couple lines in the lobby before we walked in."
To get real
Take
excited
off the edge.
for the
Take
hearing.
off the edge.
It
Yep.
happens. This is Miami. It's like we're coming full circle here. This is the city
100%.
built on coke money. Okay,
Which
for
is
the record.
why
100%.
Sansa Stark is like, no, fuck that place. Like, we're going back to England.
Terrible.
So yeah, so I mean, we do the transcript and we do the court reporter, and then we execute in person. I don't like, every attorney is kind of like a little bit different about that, about doing virtual and whatnot.
Yeah. Well,
I'd
now
rather have
everybody
them
wants to do
here.
virtual everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about child support? Can you contract about child
So
support?
you cannot. Everything that is covered in a prenup is just financial, but only financial as to the people. Because children, the court has to take into consideration best interest. And child support can only be determined with respect to income at the time that you actually got a divorce. So you can always give more. So like there was a recent one that I did where it talked about he will pay for their private school. He will pay for X amount in a clothing allowance. He will pay. So there was like all these
Tennis
things.
lessons and all
Right.
that.
So that was
Who
actually
fucking plays tennis? What is that?
Rich kids, bro.
I
Golf.
think there were tennis lessons.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure. There were lessons. For sure there were lessons. I'm not on if it was tennis or something else.
All that
But
shit.
that one was actually a post-nup where they had a prenup and then they renegotiated it after they were married and they already had a bunch of kids.
A post-nup? Is that what they
Yes,
call it?
exactly.
Post-nup.
So they had a bunch of kids. So that's why theirs actually dealt with, they thought about some of the things that I want to make sure that these things which are not normally covered in child support, that there's an agreement that they're going to be covered.
But
But otherwise, no.
Did they really think they were going to fail, that they actually went and renegotiated? I always feel like, I don't know. There's something
Rich
a little
people think
unromantic to me
differently.
about like a prenup and a postnup, and I was like, we're definitely going to fail at some point, so we might as well get this all
Keep
done ahead of time.
renegotiating.
Like
Keep negotiating as we go.
It seems vicious to me. I mean, not that I understand. I'm a lawyer. I should tell everyone you need a prenup, but man, it just seems so. I don't know.
So here's the thing.
Negative. It's a negative way to start a relationship.
Imagine that you built an empire.
Sure.
And now
Empire, no.
and now you're getting married.
Sure.
So, but let's say that after you get married, you've now, 10x your empire. So now is it really fair to say maybe you only gave him $1 million if you broke up, but now your empire is 10x and he helped you build that empire? Are you gonna leave him with the $1 million? Or are you gonna say maybe you should
Did he really?
maybe you should get 10? So sometimes it's about negotiating up
Okay, all right. I can see that.
Negotiating
and
up.
making sure that you are compensating for, you know, the efforts that have gone into the marriage.
That's
For
nice.
the person to
what
feel
I didn't
appreciated,
know
because I mean
was
the reality
that-
is that if you a big deal which I warn all of my lower income clients. So, you know, whoever is not
the poor
drafting
spouse.
yeah,
Not
whoever is
Taylor
the poor
Swift.
She's
The
spouse.
trying to say
non-Taylor
the
Swift.
poor
Trying
spouse.
to be nice about it.
The more attractive one? No.
The almost gold
Sorry,
digger. I'm kidding.
Didn't say that.
No.
The huge thing that I warn them about is it's not about necessarily about them getting a divorce, but if they die. If your prenup
Mhm.
talks about everything goes to somebody else and your spouse dies, you were happy, you were doing good, everything was great, and now you've lost your home, possibly your
Yeah, I
car,
hear that.
the money to live on. So I always encourage them to make sure that to include in the prenup that there's an insurance policy just for them,
Right.
that there's something, especially if it's because of death, because we will normally see that they're getting cut out of the estate plan in the prenup. So that means that if you did nothing wrong, but he got hit by a bus, now you like gotta get out because that ex and his kids are gonna be like ravenous
His
wolves.
kids are like, you got 3 days to
Exactly.
get the fuck out.
Bitch, out of
That's
the
what
house.
his kids are gonna say.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm like, no,
Eh,
cálmense, cálmense. Todo, por
exactly.
favor. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is an excellent marketing strategy, though, because you have sold me.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
No, but I hear that because I'm like, this is so unromantic. You're planning for separation, but okay, when we're planning for death, that's a whole other conversation, right? I
Exactly.
hear that. I hear that.
Exactly.
All right. So, well, we're talking about child support, so let's talk some more about child support because we were talking before we started filming, and we were talking about Kevin Costner,
Yeah.
weren't we, Leslie?
And I was like, bro, this guy was like already old in the 80s. Like, how is it that there's even a child support conversation with Kevin Costner? Like, what is he, 100? Like, did we extract the sperm? Like, how did this happen? I don't even, how old are these kids?
He's not that old.
Oh, yes, he was.
We're just old.
He
not.
was?
No, so he's got 3 kids.
We were like babies.
He's got 3 kids,
And now we're not
listen,
babies.
I think
listen,
he's in his 60s.
yeah, there you go.
That's it?
He's got 3 kids and they're teenagers. They're 13, 14, and 16.
Yeah.
They're not that old.
They're not that old.
No, we're the fucking old people. But
I
anyway.
was like, this gold digger extracted some sperm, got knocked
No,
up.
it
Like,
was totally a long-term marriage. This was
really?
not una parecida.
Yeah,
But
they got married in 2004, so almost 20
exactly.
years
But
together.
the problem is
Yeah.
that the reality is that Kevin Costner's been a star for a really,
But bro,
really
this
long
guy
time.
hasn't worked in like 20 years.
What
Like,
are you
how
talking
much
about?
money could
Have you
this guy
watched Yellowstone?
This man is still very much on TV. Listen.
Really?
Super.
I have
Kevin
not
has
seen
been
this.
a
Yeah.
Is
working
Kevin
actor.
banking? Is that what you're telling me?
Forever.
The viejo like got a grandpa role and he's doing well?
He's not a
Yeah.
grandpa
He's
role.
not a grandpa?
I
Yellow-
mean,
It is a
Yellowstone?
father. It is the patriarch.
yeah, he is.
He's grandpa,
It
bro.
is
Is
the
that what you're telling
patriarch.
me? Yeah.
But
Listen,
So
but
she
he's
picked
still
a good
working.
moment to get a divorce, is what you're telling me.
I
She's
mean,
like, this
there's a
motherfucker got a
prenup.
TV show.
There's a
Do
prenup,
it
girl.
now.
There's a
Oh,
prenup. So there is no good time.
no good
But the
time.
problem is that when you have prenups, again, child support becomes the thing that is negotiable
right?
because everything else is written in
Boy,
stone.
and we got
And they
three.
got into a huge
Because that's the only thing,
war.
right? The only thing you can argue about.
Wow. You can argue about it all.
Well, sure.
Claro.
Which
She
is
was on
why
drugs when she signed too.
refused-
Okay.
She was refusing. She was refusing to leave his ranch.
Oh,
The prenup said this is his ranch. It's going to be his ranch forever. She was refusing to leave the ranch. She's like, Daddy, you no salgo.
You
And,
gotta eject me,
and he
bitch.
had to go to court.
come get me.
He had, he had to go to court to get her out.
But where's she
So-
gonna go?
Anywhere, bro. Anywhere.
She's like, get out.
It
So,
doesn't fucking
he-
matter. Not
So
here, bitch.
that was
Like,
their
The judge is like, Camilla's house has been remodeled. Like,
that was literally
for anyone
his
not in South
his
Florida listening to
argument
us, Camilla's house
it's a homeless shelter.
It's a homeless
A
shelter.
very classy homeless shelter,
Anyway,
for the
so-
record.
Sorry, go on.
she's not that poor.
No, claro que no. I assume.
But his argument in court was that they had found her a house like down the street. No era como que she had to move.
Oh, she was just like, I'm not
Timbuktu.
fucking leaving.
Yeah, like
Got it.
this is my house and I don't want to go. But they had found there's like
She's like Leo
there's
in
nothing
the
comparable.
what's it? The Wolf of Wall Street.
Exactly.
Oh, dum, dum, dum. I'm sorry. I digress. I digress.
Excellent.
So they had found her a place down the street,
but it
down
wasn't
the
a shack.
neighborhood, down the. It wasn't a shack, but it was not no Kevin Costner ranch.
Okay. Also, I think the
Okay,
reason.
a
Wait, there's something.
shack to rich
shack
people
to rich
is like
people.
it's like
A
a
three-bedroom.
4 degree.
Oh yeah, she's got 3 fucking kids, bro.
Meanwhile,
All right.
a four
Also,
three is four
is it
bedroom.
still the case
One
that
per
you
person.
generally represent men
So
Oh,
on
that's
your law
true.
firm?
She didn't mention that, but we
Yeah.
know that Vanessa
Right.
So
generally
I'm being a
represents
little
you.
tough on her because she's gonna
Our
stick
ideal
up for the
clients,
men here.
our ideal clients are divorcing dads.
Uh-huh.
We tend to find that they are the ones that need the most assistance.
Oh.
Yes, moms tend to be. So the statistics, back to the statistics, are that women will normally be the ones that file, not men.
Of course, we're fed up. We being
And
someone
men
that's
will
never
be
been divorced.
and men will be surprised. They'll be like, "What do you mean?
Oh my
We're getting a
god!
divorce?"
Wow! Like, come
Interesting.
mierda! like I've
And
been
she'll be like,
unhappy for 10 years.
exactly,
You
exactly.
don't fucking know this. Wow.
I've been telling you.
But all that porn, no.
That is exactly what happens.
We were so
That
happy
is
together.
exactly what happens.
We've raised beautiful children.
Porn has nothing to do.
So women will be prepared.
Porn can enhance a sex life.
That's my point. Maybe the porn would have helped. Anyway, this is off the rails.
He didn't include her in the porn watching. What's the problem? anyways, back to what we're talking. I can see that though. I absolutely can see that. Not the statistics part, but I mean that men probably seek less help.
I'm fucking clueless.
No, you know what I think? And maybe this is wrong, but my opinion would be that, historically, right? Maybe not now in modern times, but before, judges, courts sided a lot with giving the mom custody. Giving the mom custody,
100%.
dad pays, right?
Florida used to have a
Sure.
tender years doctrine where the doctrine was that during the tender years of children, they should be with the mom.
Exactly.
And we
so I think
abolished that years ago.
That's definitely evolved, obviously.
Yep.
Now we have a different concept of what a family is and what dad can provide versus what mom,
Mhm.
we have same-sex couples now. Like everything has kind of evolved with how we think of this. But I absolutely can see how there's still some of this stuck, where men are still, I mean, statistically, there's still more men making the higher amount of money in relationships. We haven't evolved
And there
that much,
are
right, in society.
So this
and
ties
women
back
are
to women
still
filing.
No,
You
I think this ties back to men needing
being
more help
surprised.
and being surprised and not realizing that their rights are going to get trampled on as fathers. I absolutely think that's true.
Mm.
I absolutely think that's true. I buy
yeah.
this. I know you ain't buying what I'm selling by your face, but I absolutely buy this.
I think that this will go
100%.
off the deep end quick if I start thinking about all the reasons I might perceive in my own biased opinion of why men are caught by surprise.
You know what?
When clearly somebody else, the other half, is unhappy enough to file for fucking divorce.
Do you know this isn't about divorce, but I represent VAWA, Violence Against Women Act, people who get immigration status based on domestic abuse. Do you know that I file more VAWA applications for men than I do for women? That is a true statistic in my fucking office. I have more domestic violence victims in my office that are male than are female. True facts. True facts.
That you think are legitimate.
That are legitimate with medical records. I have people who, I'm not even going to go into details. A lot of legitimate physical evidence. We aren't just talking about emotional abuse, which is also very much a thing for the record.
We're not even. 100%.
Okay, 100%.
We're going to move on. We're going to move on to, I say these are men saying they're emotionally abused by a U.S. citizen and crying about it. And
it is a very powerful thing to promise someone status and immigration status and papers and then have that be a power play when they don't do what you want.
100%.
Super powerful. Super fucking powerful. You behave yourself or I won't give you your green card. How do you think that goes? That is every fucking day, dude. I live in that world. I live in that world.
Before we go down this tangent.
I'm sorry. I digress.
We digress.
And we see those threats in my office where unfortunately, when they haven't finished their paperwork or when they're just completely undocumented and they will say, oh, is this going to affect my divorce? 100%. And I have to say, I'll be very honest with you. It won't affect officially it won't affect your divorce, but there will be nothing I can do if he calls immigration on you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a powerful thing. I know. Yeah. Anyways, I digress. We were
Back
talking
to Kevin
about
Kevin
Costner,
Costner.
we were talking about
who
Kevin
got her a
Costner.
shack. I'm sure
Yeah.
of it, which is why she didn't want to leave because she's like,
So-
"Descarado." Like, how dare you?
But the interesting thing about their case is that she was asking for $160,000
Yep.
a month.
Oh yeah, those
And
tennis
child
lessons are
support.
cheap. Neither the golf lessons,
Serena's
the piano
the teacher.
lessons.
Serena's
Serena-
teaching him.
Right.
Serena's the teacher.
Serena's the teacher.
Absolutely. Those
Yep.
acting classes, tampoco. They don't
Yep.
come for free.
So, I mean, that's almost $2 million a year in child support that she was asking
Yep.
for.
But
But the court ordered like 60,000. I mean,
yeah, I looked it up.
agárrate de ahí.
I looked it up.
Agárrate de ahí.
Óyeme,
63,209. I actually looked this up before Vanessa
Okay,
got
but wait,
here.
does the 62,000 have to include anything other than like food and shelter? Because then fuck you, bro. Pay for your own kids' golf lessons, motherfucker.
No, it includes more than just
The
food
whole
and
I
That's
swear I've
shelter.
never been married or divorced.
The whole concept of child support.
Clearly.
Pero for only 60,000, I can't live like that. Like, so you better come get your kids. Come get your kids. Like,
Get your kids.
come get your kids.
The whole concept of child support, which people don't always understand, is that it is not only intended to cover their needs, but to put the parties on an equal balance. Because if Kevin takes them to Sundance and Aspen
Yeah,
and Europe every month, they're like, well, I don't want to be with you, poor mom. I want to be with you,
That's
with
true.
Rich
dad.
dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So by trying to level them up,
Are you telling me the 60 G's is supposed to also pay for the ski trips and whatever
Yes.
with mom?
Yeah.
No. This is unfair.
it is bringing up her
This is very.
lifestyle in order to compete. And so that the kids are like,
How much
wow,
money is he making?
Who
I don't
fucking
know.
knows?
Oh no, a fuck more than $60,000. Okay, so we all know where Leslie
but it's
stands on
always a
this issue.
percentage. It's always a percentage.
Okay.
Florida law has it so that it's literally a table like you make X, she makes Y. This is the child support number.
Right.
coño.
But when you have very well off parents, Florida actually has a concept called I won't remember now because of course I'm on the air. But good fortune. It's a good fortune trust, which is when if dad is like, well, she doesn't need 60. And so we should give her 30 and put 30 of it away for the kids for later.
Oh, interesting.
So you have good fortune trust.
Oh, I like that though.
Yeah,
I think
where-
that's cool. So it goes to the kids when they turn
Exactly.
adults.
Exactly.
Daddy can give his kids whatever the fuck he wants when they turn adults.
Okay.
I'm worried about mom in the meantime, is what I'm worried
But this
about.
is-
But
We're
child
talking about
support's not
child
supposed
support.
to pay
Child
for
support's
her
not for
living
mom.
expenses. Right. Child support's not supposed to pay her house and her food and her
Yeah, I know.
Pilates.
But these
And
children
her
are with
trips.
her.
Bodies.
Or with both, I
Tell
guess,
us how you
right?
really
Right.
feel.
But it's not intended to be like, okay, this is going to cover your house for them to live in. You're supposed to provide a house.
These
This
kids
is-
don't want to come to my shack.
You're
They want
4'3",
to go to Kevin's ranch. Like,
where their ponies at.
where the ponies are at. Like,
But that's the point. That's the point.
Who really thinks that these kids are following any kind of schedule? I mean, both of these
these
people,
kids are in fucking
both
like
of these
board
people
school
are
in fucking
working.
Connecticut, bro.
they're
These kids are not with
teenagers.
nobody.
They're teenagers. These parents are working. They're traveling. These kids are not like with
Wednesdays
either.
with me,
Yeah,
Saturdays contigo.
That's,
No,
that's
So
I,
there's-
I don't think
no,
so.
There's
That's for
one
us
other
common
really
folk.
interesting point in this divorce, not necessarily related to child support, but that I wanted to bring up. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you know this, but I was Googling about it so that we could talk about the numbers. And I came across this line. I actually wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. And they were saying that Kevin is a professional actor. And so he could lie on the stand and convince the
Oh,
judge.
I took great offense to this.
Yeah.
The only time I was backing up Kevin.
And
all
so,
right? I
and
was
so
greatly offended
the
by
judge
this.
said, and I quote, I'm gonna quote this to you. He recognizes that Kevin is a professional actor, and he weighed that in the decision-making process when judging his credibility.
Óyeme,
And I was like,
Está
unless
duro.
it's like that shit
That's
ain't fair.
bullshit. Any
see?
judge could use that against us as lawyers.
It's like, you a lawyer, so you're a good liar.
You're full of shit, is what you are. Like,
And so,
imagine a judge says that to you.
But
You'd
I
be
thought-
beyond offended.
I thought that was fascinating, and I think it comes full circle to the conversation that we were having about men in general. But I don't think it's because he's a man, but having it used against you that he's
They're
a professional
also always full
actor.
of shit. It's not just-
Get serious. Like, should your profession really like even be a question in the
I mean,
divorce?
I
I'm a
think-
little offended by that statement.
So in anything related to money, his testimony's not gonna matter. It's
Mhm.
gonna be the paperwork. What does the taxes show?
Yeah.
What does the bank account show? You know, where that's really gonna come into play is if they fight over custody.
Right.
Which in Florida, we don't have custody anymore. We have time sharing and
Yeah.
parental responsibility. But there is where testimony matters. When you're saying, these are the things I do for my kids, this is how I took care of my kids, this is how the other person didn't take care of the kids. There, I could see all the acting, you know, like, he never took care of me. You know, like,
Woe is me.
exactly. But with the money,
Me tiró la
no.
mierda. Sorry.
I mean, and we saw that in the Amber Heard and the Johnny Depp trial, right?
That
Those
wasn't
were
on our list, but
actors.
we should talk about this.
Those were actors, and the court and the jury got to see them, but the
In all
lawyers
their
broke it
glory,
down.
let me tell you, that they got to see them in all their glory.
And the lawyers, when they're cross-examining, are able to break through the fact that these people are good actors.
Yeah,
That's
it's true.
not like, you know,
It's
that's
true.
not a gimme. Oh, you're an actor, so you're gonna sell me on whatever you're telling me.
Yeah.
Obviously, Amber didn't, you know, wasn't able to sell what
It
she
didn't
was.
go well. Yeah,
Wasn't able
that
to sell
didn't
what
go
she was
well.
selling.
I mean, she shit on his bed, dude. Like, I mean, can you ever come back from that? I don't know. That was when it was over for me. Like, that was it. She crossed the line, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I didn't
lots
see
of
any
lines
of
were
this.
crossed there.
There was
Lots
no
of
podcast
lines.
episode about it,
She
so I'm
shat
not sure
on
what
his
happened there.
bed, okay? Shat on his bed. Like, true fucking story. Like, it's crazy.
Wait, so
Yeah,
They got into an argument, and she like,
and that's how she got revenge.
right?
She shat on
wasn't
the
this
bed.
a libel lawsuit?
Yeah.
So what does that have to do with?
Because he was demonstrating that he
abuse.
was abused, that
Yeah.
that they were in a toxic
Did
relationship.
she throw the shit at him?
Like a monkey? No,
Is
she
this
did
like
not.
an extended assault and battery? Like, bah! Like what? How is this?
It
Oh
was
God!
to demonstrate,
I
like,
missed a good trial. Is that what
like,
you guys are telling me?
yeah.
I did not know
was
it.
to
Yeah, it was
demonstrate the
good.
toxicity of their marriage and
Yeah.
their relationship.
You know, some people just love
So
that.
like,
shit.
not just like, oh, I
was
I gave
abused
as good
too.
as I
She
got.
shat on my bed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hecho de cristal también. Okay, got it.
Let's not talk about Johnny.
Let's
But you
talk
know
about
who we
Johnny.
should talk about? Brittany. Because, you know,
Okay.
everyone's favorite singer. I was definitely part of the Free Britney crew back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when
No, it's been many years.
when
No,
Greenberg got her
no,
like
no, no.
freed.
No, you are so wrong. They got her
freed her.
freed. I mean, freed.
Freed.
Recently, I guess.
Now there's a new hashtag. Britney's not free.
Oh
my goodness.
What is wrong with her now?
But this has been, I mean, years and years and years with Britney Spears. So let's start. For anyone who doesn't know, tell us what's up with Britney.
So I mean, she's going through another divorce, unfortunately. Her
Does
husband.
she have any kids with this clown?
No.
No.
And it really didn't last very long. I think this was only like a year, 15 months
wasn't
marriage.
it during the incapacity stuff like years ago? Whatever, she
I think
couldn't
right
marry him
after-
without daddy's approval.
Exactly.
Because there's financial
I think when she got
consequences.
freed, then she got shackled.
Then she got shackled to this
somebody
guy.
else. Exactly.
To this
Exactly.
guy. Okay. And there's a prenup, I assume.
Yes, there's a prenup.
Bueno.
So the problem.
Fuera, mijo.
So on this one, it seems almost like what I've read about it is that it's really been more like she maybe wasn't on her meds. This one seemed more
That's what
like
happens
the
when you're
guy.
free. You gotta take your meds.
Too free.
You gotta take your meds.
Then you're, you can make your own decisions about whether you want to take those meds or not, like everybody else. So my understanding is that, whether true or not, that he was actually like, I can't handle, what you're going through and what you're doing to yourself. And so that it was almost like not a bad divorce, but it was like, I love you too much to watch you do this to yourself type of thing. Whether true or not, that's what I've read.
Well, what's he asking for in the petition?
So I'm not sure that he's asking for anything. I haven't heard about this one in a negative connotation. The only reason that I thought the case was interesting is because of the videos that have been coming out that seem to indicate that she's again spiraling.
Yeah. She hasn't shaved her head yet, though.
She hasn't shaved it yet.
If
Is
y'all-
that the
if-
standard?
Yet.
Do you not
Is that the
remember when she
standard?
shaved her head? It was like all. Wait, I don't even remember what year this was.
This was
2009.
like a long time
Man.
No, I think it's longer than that.
Was
no?
it longer than 2009? I don't
We
know.
were already lawyers then.
It was
No,
like a whole
before
big
that.
thing. It was a whole big thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
I think it was before.
Because she crashed somebody in a parking lot. Did she shave her head the next
I
day?
don't
Like
know.
it was like one thing after another back
But
then.
you know,
Right.
some days you just gotta shave your head.
I
Right.
mean,
You just,
well,
you know, pague.
yeah. But I mean, if you already had a gazillion fucking dollars, maybe you're like, fuck it. I
Who
don't know.
cares?
I've never had a gazillion fucking dollars to
You
know if I
shave
don't
your head
give
the
a
day you
shit.
make a gazillion dollars. You heard it here first, folks. Leslie will shave her head when she
I mean,
makes a
at that point, who
gazillion
gives a
dollars.
fuck?
Well, so anyway, so she went through
So-
meltdowns before,
So it
right?
seems that she's spiraling again, and the only reason that I thought about it, you know, as an interesting topic is because in Florida, if you are determined to be incapacitated, your spouse can't divorce you. They are stuck in a holding pattern for 3 years
3
um,
fucking years.
while after you've been determined incapacitated. So it's like
To wait
if
what? For your capacity to come back?
either to make sure that your capacity comes back, and or
Newsflash,
to-
it doesn't come back.
and or to use the marital assets for you to be supported. Because
Oh.
if I'm married and I lose capacity and my husband then divorces me and takes half my house, now half my house is gone. The other half is being used for my care. I could end up homeless because all my money goes into my care. So in their great
Interesting.
wisdom, the Florida legislature requires that if you're incapacitated, your spouse now has to wait 3 years after you're determined incapacitated before you can file.
And you can't get like a guardian or something?
I don't know for
Insane.
sure. There has to be a guardianship. Once you're determined
But you still gotta wait
incapacitated,
the 3 years.
yes.
That's crazy.
Once you're determined incapacitated,
That's
there will be
crazy.
a guardian. And the problem then becomes your spouse may be
Guardian.
fighting. Right, your spouse is the one that has
Hello?
the priority to be the guardian.
Uh-huh.
But if there's marital problems, is that really the person you want as your guardian?
Yeah.
So back to the estate planning, you need to make sure that you've got your, you know,
That's
all your
wild.
paperwork in order as to who you want to be your power of attorney if it's
Push
not your
it in
spouse.
order before you die.
And before
Or
you're
before you
incapacitated.
go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs like Britney. I mean, that's, you know,
But the lesson here is get your shit in order while you're still alive.
I
Yes.
mean,
Which
While you
brings me to another amazing topic I want to talk about. That was an excellent
so many
segue.
amazing
That was
topics.
an excellent segue for the next
for
topic,
Vanessa.
which is Ana Obregón. Okay, I want to talk about Ana Obregón. For anyone who doesn't know, Ana Obregón is a TV personality,
Yeah,
right?
she's a very famous Spanish actress.
A Spanish actress. There you go. And so she is in her 60s, I think
Yep,
now, in her
she's in her late
60s.
60s.
And Ana Obregón had a son who passed away. And
Very sad.
so, yeah, and I
Yeah.
think she inherited his frozen jizz, right? His frozen sperm.
Yes.
And then decided she wanted a biological grandchild,
Yep.
even though her son was dead.
Yep.
And so she got a surrogate with a donated egg, implanted her with her son's frozen jizz,
Oh, God.
and then had a grandchild
Who is
she then-
officially her child.
who is now officially her child. She's adopted. And so now she adopted, her adopted daughter is her biological granddaughter
Yeah.
by her dead son. Tell me some shit about that. I mean, like, fucking tell me some fucking shit about that. If that is not the weirdest shit I've heard all day, it is beyond me. And so I went Googling, I'm like, how is
And
this
then-
even fucking legal? Like,
And
I don't
and the
understand.
interesting thing is, so surrogacy, she lives in Spain, but surrogacy is not legal in Spain. So she couldn't do all of this in Spain. So she actually came to Florida because
To
Florida.
Miami.
Miami.
Hashtag Miami. A sunny place for shady people.
And her surrogate lived here in Florida, and the entire process was done here. And the adoption was completed here, I believe in Tampa. So yeah, so Florida was the one that assisted in her being able to do
How
all of the
nice.
things that you
How
just said.
developed are the laws around this surrogacy type of stuff?
So-
Because I feel like it's always something that comes up, whether it was Sofia Vergara
Yes.
trying to get her eggs from this
Yep.
comedieta in the middle
yeah,
of
I
a
remember
divorce and
that.
all of
Yeah.
that. And that's a million times worse than this because you're not going to go have my fucking kids without me, you asshole. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
Except
what
they
the hell that
can
guy
in
was
Florida,
doing.
So
In Florida is a free for all here. So, but how developed is the case law or even the statutes? I mean,
So,
or
I mean, it's one of those things where it's really majorly managed through contract law, not even
Wow.
through Florida statute.
Not through family.
So the facilities that actually hold all of these genetic materials, they're the ones, and that was why the Sofia Vergara thing turned so interesting, because their contract with that place, with the
Yeah.
bank, stated that it could not be used without both parties' consent.
Right.
So it was very clear in the
Mm.
paperwork, which is why it was interesting that this guy was trying to, to get those embryos.
Wild.
But yeah, it's ultimately her son. My understanding is that Anna's son had cancer. And it's pretty common for people with cancer, especially men, to save their sperm so that when they believe they
Wow.
will survive
Uh-huh.
and they get married or whatever, they can have children later.
Maybe
Because
so the chemo doesn't
Right,
destroy
right, 'cause
something.
they destroys
Oh,
everything. Right,
wow.
right.
yes, I
Got
mean,
it.
it's pretty common for women who are childbearing age and men
To
who are
freeze their
childbearing
eggs,
age to
sure.
freeze their eggs or
Sure.
freeze their sperm.
Sure.
Because even if you're not married now, you're like, well, but in the future, I may not be able to, because of the radiation, the chemo, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's actually pretty common for people when they have cancer to do that. And apparently, in his will, he left everything, and he left in his paperwork permission for his mom to get his sperm.
Like there was like a beneficiary designation in the
Yep.
place of
Yep.
like, in case of emergency,
Yes.
here's mom.
Yep.
Wow.
And her claim is that they spoke about this, that
Well, her
that
claim is I do what I fucking want, but
that too.
yeah, I mean,
That's the weird part to me,
I got
though.
money.
I mean, did they
And
speak about
Florida's
that?
a free for all.
I mean, maybe they spoke about it, and I guess we can't say they didn't, because what do we fucking know? But
Right.
that's just weird. That's just weird. I mean, it's just fucking strange. I don't want anybody having my
It's-
kids once I'm dead. Like, I'm just saying, mom or otherwise. That's even weirder. But whatever, mom or otherwise,
It's one of those things that,
Elina
like,
Senior.
No,
Sorry,
mom, listen.
no Elina, no mini Elinas.
Her mom's name is also Elina.
Yeah,
so
Right. So Elina the third.
so Elina the third. No, not
That's-
gonna happen.
It is gross. It's absolutely gross. I'm sorry. I don't want my mom, and I keep lovingly calling it jizz, because to me it's this guy's jizz. Like, mommy is in charge of his jizz, and then now she's gonna go implant some surrogate.
At least she didn't try to clone him, okay? At least she didn't go to like
That's
Korea
true. You
and go like,
imagine?
you know what? We're
You fucking
16 dogs
imagine?
down, a sheep and a goat. Let's try human. Like, let's do it. Fascinating documentary on Netflix about these
Okay.
Korean scientists and how
I've actually
Trend
seen something
cloning.
about
that is
that.
amazing.
It's really interesting.
It's fucking unbelievable.
But there's some interesting ethics involved, and we're not usually we're not sophisticated enough to have ethical conversations generally
Right.
on this
On
podcast.
this podcast, this will go off the rails quick.
But legit, like, I see some big ethics issues with this. Like, should we be procreating after death? I mean, how strange. And how many generations down can you pass this? You imagine if this guy's jizz is frozen, and then like
So
great grandma,
There's
so
like
there's
dynasty trusts about to
actually-
get set up for these great
there's
grandchildren. No te preocupes.
like, are the royals gonna be
Ana,
having
llámame.
cloned royals 4
I was-
generations later? Like,
I
that's
was
weird.
reading about somebody who, I don't remember if it said that it was the oldest embryo used, but somebody had an embryo implanted that was like almost 30 years old.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, it
That's
was like
weird.
the embryo got donated, and somebody was like, "I'm willing to, to have this baby and see what happens."
That's just fucking weird.
To see if it's still. I think this is very cool.
To see if
Is
it's
what
still. I mean,
viable.
I think it's
30 years old.
I
It's
think
been
it's
frozen for 30 years. Or
fascinating
whatever.
from a scientific perspective, but there's definitely some ethical concerns here to me. Like, where's the fucking line?
Back
Where's
to
the line?
back
Okay,
to
like,
estate planning,
I-
and if
I think
you
Anna, you
want,
should call me.
if you want your stuff to be used or not used, you should
make
make
a plan.
sure
Make a
that
plan.
there's a plan.
And I think
Whether
that's
it's a beneficiary designation, whether you want to say that they should be destroyed, whether but yeah,
I'm
in the
sure there was a
absence-
little box at like the Jizzy place, the Jizzy storage place
we're
that said,
we're gonna start
"Would
calling
you
it the
like?
jizz
Would
store.
you like your shit
jizz
destroyed
store.
if you die?" And he said, "No." He said, "Give it to my mama." I mean,
Give it to my mama.
that's what he wrote on the beneficiary designation, and that's it.
Well, I mean,
right?
listen, I'm not gonna lie.
No, maybe more attention should be placed when they explain these documents to people
right.
at the jizz
at
store.
the jizz storage place.
No, but I can see. Okay, let me pause and take a step back. I can absolutely see situations where that would be okay, and let me tell you what they are. Let's say you have a spouse, you want to have kids. He's a great example because he had cancer, right? So there was a very legit reason for him to freeze his sperm, right?
Mhm.
And let's say he did pass away, and they wanted to have kids, and him and a spouse discussed it, or him and a significant other discussed it, and this is, she went on to implant herself if they were, or, and have a
Right.
child. I wouldn't be as weird about that. Still a little strange, but still okay to me. It's the fact that mama made this decision that's a little odd to me. Like,
I mean, what
Is
I
this her
think,
only
so
son?
it was her only son.
Ellie.
It was her only son.
it's
But
fucking
the
weird.
thing
It's
is,
fucking weird. I
the
don't care
problem
anything.
is, if you think about it from the child's perspective, they're almost likely to not survive. Mom is not going to survive to see them be an adult
Yeah,
because
because she's
she was
70.
68 when
Yes.
the child was born. So when that child is 18, she's going to be 86.
Yeah,
So no matter how good her genes are, like she may
Wait.
not make it to 86 A's, which means that the child would be losing, their only parent.
sure.
And if she's alive, what kind of condition is she going to be in?
Yeah.
So, yes, money can cure many things. And I sure hope that she's got her estate plan and her guardianship all set up for who's going to take care of her kid if something happens to her.
Yeah,
But
100%.
the odds are just substantially greater that something could potentially happen to her while this kid is still a minor, and that they won't, that they won't see, her grow up to be a full adult.
No, you're absolutely right.
I mean, this is a conversation I have with everybody doing kids protection planning, right? Because everybody's like default setting is like, oh, if I die, my parents, if I die, my whatever. And the first question is, your
How
parents
old
are a
are your
certain
parents?
age, and custody doesn't exist in Florida, but let's just think of it as custody. Custody will transfer to one person. Okay,
Right.
so of course the whole family, especially in a Latin family, is gonna get together and everybody's gonna whatever raise your kid. But at the same time,
It takes a village
let's
kind of
think.
concept.
Okay, Hillary. Yes. And so exactly, like it is a conversation. But in this case, I don't know, like there's so many factors here, I guess, going through Anna. Is Anna still living in Miami? I mean, there's no
My
solicitation. I'm not
understanding is that she
soliciting you,
went back
Anna,
to
but you
Spain.
She
should
went to
call me.
Spain.
You should call me.
No,
Oh, no,
Anna is
then.
a Spanish TV personality.
Got
She
it.
came to Miami because surrogacy is illegal in Spain.
Exactly.
So she only came here to do the weird shit because we're okay with it
I
in
have
Florida.
seen signs on the side of the road that say looking for surrogate $100,000, like
Oh,
what?
yeah.
And I was like, coño, esto está barato.
Yeah.
Like
You
only
can go on Craigslist.
100,000 bucks to
You could
hold.
sell your eggs on
Or-
Craigslist, my friend.
Yeah, but would you hold somebody else's kid for only $100,000? No fucking way.
Oh, there's
That's
actually
cheap,
much.
no?
No,
It's
there's
much
actually
cheaper
cheaper.
than that. Yeah.
No,
$100
it's cheap.
is
I
really
literally in front of a Publix saw a sign, like literally a yard sign. I'm like, this is the classiest shit ever, Miami.
It was
This
right next
here.
to the
It
We
is
Buy
not
Junk
actually-
Cars sign.
Like this is right next to the I
like,
do your tax
Do
returns.
I sell my eggs? Do I sell my car?
So to be a surrogate, there's like a lot of checklists to be a surrogate.
Yeah,
You
there
have
is.
to-
Yeah.
You have to have had a child already.
Really?
Yeah, you
Can't
can't
be
be
your
a
first.
first-time mom.
Oh, is that because people go wacko?
Wait. I didn't know there were actual like
Requirements?
parameters here.
You have to have already had a
This isn't
kid.
encuentras cualquiera ahí una becera Jalía that needs $100,000 and go, mi amor, you're doing this. Sign here.
Nope. So you have to have had a kid before.
didn't
You
know
have
we
to
had these
pass
laws.
psychological testing
I was
because
about
it
to say,
is a thing to carry a baby and
dude, you
be
imagine
like,
how attached people get to this
No, but
thing?
that's what
There
I
was
mean.
a
I
big
didn't realize we
scandal.
were this advanced.
There was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
big
yeah.
scandal. I don't remember where this was, but where there was a surrogate, an international surrogate, that no.
Oh.
So this all happened somewhere else.
She took off to Spain.
Because
Terrible.
in the US, because we are more, I don't want to say advanced because I don't know that it's the advancement, but because we have more money, people will do selective, there's a fancy name, but it's basically an abortion. So like selective choosing of the embryo.
Oh, yeah,
They
yeah.
realize that
Like, which
there's
one's
not-
better?
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
you want a girl. So when
Yeah,
you
right.
realize
all
it's a
the all the
boy,
things, yeah. So
Which,
you-
by the
they
way,
go
there's a
with it.
whole other
Interesting.
ethical conversation about that.
That's
Like, do
terrible.
I want a blonde, blue-eyed child? Like, is
but in
this?
this case-
Oh, yeah. There's huge.
In
Anyways,
this case, what
bigger
happened
Pandora's
is that
box
the
there.
child that was born with, I think it was with Down syndrome, and the
Ay, Dios
parents were like, "Well, we don't want him," and the surrogate is like, "Well, I'm gonna keep him then." And but then whichever country it was, surrogacy is actually illegal there. Like
So they
there
couldn't
was a
adopt
whole there
from
was
the
a
crime.
whole mango,
Ay, Dios mío.
because the parents were like, "Well, we don't want that baby." I think what it was is that
Yeah, that's
they
crazy.
discovered when she
Holy
was
shit.
pregnant and she refused to have an abortion.
Right.
Ah,
That makes
And
sense.
right.
then when the baby was
Wow.
born, it became like a whole thing because now it was like it's not legally her child, but it is her child. But Yeah.
And so I could get
So-
child support from your dumbass.
I don't think so.
That's full circle. No,
Circle to
can
Kevin.
the surrogate get child support
I
from
don't
these
even
parents?
know. I don't even know because it's not. I don't.
So you may
I
not have
don't-
wanted them to be born, but now they're born, bro. So
So-
somebody's got to pay for this.
So listen.
So there's all kinds of stuff.
There's
with
all
the
kinds of
surrogacy,
wow, but I didn't know
there
we
are
had
requirements.
regulations already on that.
I mean, I we should have a whole other episode with like an ethicist because I think the whole idea of like choosing what traits your child has and
This is
it's
like-
fascinating to me. It's fascinating, and we
You should have somebody who specializes in fertility. And
That's a great
We're
idea.
gonna have Vero on here
Yeah.
because Vero is scared of having. What did you say? She wants another girl. She's very serious
yeah.
about it. And I was
Yeah.
like, really? I've never seen anybody so passionate about like
I
I
know.
want this gender. She's like, no, I really do. I'm like, okay.
I'm just as passionate about my dogs. Anyways,
I guess everybody says they want whatever, but like
Ah,
nobody's ever really.
you love what you
felt-
get. You
I
love
never
what you
felt
get.
that passion.
You love what
Yeah.
you get.
You know,
So-
so exactly, you love what you get.
You love
bro.
what you
It
get.
is what it
Anyways, Vanessa, this has been amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
Before we sign off, any final words for our viewing audience?
If you've got baby mama drama, I'm the one to call.
There you go. And we want prenup, right?
And we want
I
prenup.
learned we want a free Britney. We want a
We do not
prenup.
want a free Britney. It looks like Britney needs to be
And we don't want
unfree,
grandmas to have
bro.
babies.
That is a
Britney needs-
controversial opinion.
I don't know why you
And
think that.
grandmas cannot have my mom. Do not sell my eggs. Okay, like, I'm not okay with
Do
it.
not use my
I'm putting
eggs.
this on video right
not
now.
use my
Nope, my
eggs.
eggs die with me. I'm just saying. All right. Anyways, this has been La Shit You Should Know. Thank you so much, and tune in again next time
For
Bye-bye.
more.
for more La Shit You Should Know.